Hey guys, I'm here with something that you guys haven't seen in nearly 3 years. I made a 25-minute video of what I'm going to show you today back in March of 2010. It was split into 3 parts. That was when YouTube still had the 10-minute video limit. And it was a very well-received video series. My viewers at the time liked it a lot, and they took pretty good interest in it. And of course, like all my other videos, that was lost in the hacking catastrophe of May 2010. This is the Sony Watchman FD-30, and if you're a newcomer, or you just don't remember what this is an entire television set. A portable, battery-powered, handheld television set. Go ahead and open it up here. That's what it looks like. It's got a 2-inch black and white CRT display. A tube-type display, just like you'd find in an older TV. I can't get this thing out of its vinyl case. I bought this thing on eBay. I think I got it for Christmas of 2009. I paid about $30 for this total. If I had waited until a couple of years from then, I probably could have got this thing for $10, because now these things are incredibly cheap on eBay because they have very little use, because analog television is dead now. This is, of course, an analog TV. It also is an AM/FM stereo radio, and I really love this thing. Out of all my vintage electronics, this has got to be one of my most prized pieces. So, just a very brief history. The Sony Watchman series of handheld TVs were first introduced in I believe early 1982 in Japan with the model FD-200, and then here in North America it was in later 1982 with the model FD-210, which is exactly like the FD-200, just different cosmetic styling. And Sony, between their introduction in 1982 and their discontinuation in the early 2000s, Sony made so many different models of this, and not only with black and white CRT displays, but they also made models with color LCD displays. And they all had the same merits. They were all handheld TVs that run off standard batteries. Meant for the analog television system. Many models had external antenna jacks. Many had composite AV input jacks, which is very nice. And only a couple of models, like this one, have a built-in radio as well. The FD-30 is definitely one of my favorite models. I really love the styling of it. I like that it has a built-in radio, and you know, I really love this thing, and it's in absolutely perfect shape. I doubt this thing was ever used, or at least it was in absolutely perfect shape until I put that scratch in it about 2 weeks after I got it. To this day, I still kick myself for that. So we'll have a little overview of this thing. You got your tuning dial, of course. You've got a red LED that lights up when you're tuning in an FM stereo station when you're using the radio. You've got this little red meter that goes up and down when you adjust the volume, which is pretty cool. You got a monophonic speaker right there. And then up on the right side here, you've got an AC adapter jack for 6 volts. You got a headphone jack. You've got a composite video input. Unfortunately, there is no audio input. You got your volume wheel and your tuning wheel, and your power switch, which is for off, radio, or TV. Figured I should open up the curtains and let some more light in here. On the top of the unit, we've got a telescopic antenna, which is quite long, very decently long. And I can remember when I first got this TV, I didn't know, I only pulled it out to there, and I didn't know that the antenna was actually movable. If you pull it out more, I just simply didn't pull hard enough. Another section comes out, and then you have a joint, so you can move the antenna. That's how long it is. Very nice antenna. and it moves and swivels. This is hard to do with one hand, and very cool. It tucks away just like that, which is very nice. So on the back of the unit, you can read some info here. You can pause and read any of that if you want. Manufactured April of 1984. This is one of the earlier models of Watchman. Sony model FD-30A. The A means it's meant for the NTSC North American video system. Flat black and white TV, FM stereo / AM receiver. And there's the frequency ranges. Draws 2.2 watts using 6 volts of power. Battery supply, 4 AA batteries. FCC and all sorts of stuff. Put it down on its... I'm gonna do this on my lap because I don't want to put the face on a hard surface. Battery compartment opens just like that, and you take this little thing and you pull it, and the whole battery container just comes right out. Very, very cool. And there's an orange dot there and an orange dot here, so you can line it up the right way. I love it. One of the best battery compartment designs I've ever seen. This was when Sony was really on their game. So on the left side of the unit, we've got 2 switches. One for VHF and UHF when you're on the TV, and for the radio, one for AM, local FM, so it just reduces the receiving power, and then one for FMDX, so you can receive farther away stations. And then you got this thing for a... if it'll focus, except on my legs. I've got this thing for a wrist lanyard, which I don't remember if this thing came with the lanyard or not. I have a feeling it did, and I just took it off. Assuming that's correct, I have no idea where the lanyard is. Oops. And then on the bottom, you have adjustments for V-hold and contrast. I have the contrast turned down all the way because, and I never knew this until recently, I read that television broadcasts now have a lot more contrast than they used to. So turning the contrast up on this thing just makes the picture look really quite bad, so I have it turned down all the way, and it looks just fine. So it must be true that TV broadcasts now have a lot more contrast than they used to. And yeah, oh, and I forget if I mentioned this, it's got this stand that flips out like that. Can set it down on a table. Very, very nice. So, there's a little overview of the television set, and what I'm going to show you right now is something that I really enjoy doing because I've never been able to do it before. Here at university, we have analog cable television, and I have the necessary equipment to be able to hook this up to that system, and we can watch cable TV. So what I'll do right now is I'll get that all set up, and we'll scan through the band on here and give you a demonstration of this thing and how it performs on Rogers cable television. I forgot to mention one more thing about the vinyl case. So when the set is in the case, which is a two-handed job, the case has various ports that allow you to use the TV and never really have to take it out of its case, except to change the batteries, and that's how I normally use this thing. The case has holes for the video input and audio output in the power jack, but they don't line up. This has intrigued me the entire time I've owned this thing. All I can figure is that it's a manufacturing defect. Yeah, they don't really line up. I don't really get that. All the other controls are conveniently exposed. When the case is closed, there's a hole for the antenna, so you can, there's these flaps here which fold out, and there's Velcro here, so it fastens like that, and this provides a sunshade, so when you're watching the TV outside, you can see the screen without glare from the sun. See, just like that, and then you can still haul the antenna out, and it's pretty, I think that's pretty neat and very thoughtful engineering. So what I'll do now is hook this up to the cable system and we'll watch some TV. One more thing I forgot, the vinyl case has a hole on the back so the stand can come out. So that's pretty cool, and I'll have this thing set up on the stand for when we demo it. So, how this works is, I've got this tiny little coax cable. I have had this just about all my life, and I've never known why I've kept it. Now I do know, because when I was younger, I did not know handheld TVs existed, and this comes in very handy for using one of those. So that screws in right into the cable connector at my desk here. I take this alligator cable, which I've wrapped in electrical tape, and I just clip it on to the center pin of the coax cable. And then the other end of the alligator cable goes right on the antenna, because this thing does not have an external antenna jack. And now we can turn it on and watch TV. Alright, to help with the lighting, I've closed the curtains, or I at least planned to and forgot to. I just closed them now, and I got my desk lamp running to help with the brightness. So let's turn the set on. Hope the camera focuses. There we go. And let's start tuning. Some of the channels don't come in very well. The cable setup kinda stinks here. And we got brightness problems, so I'm gonna see if I can fix that. There, that's much better. That's the weather network. That's the guide. Yeah, all the lower channels, they don't come in well, but everything else actually comes in quite good. Like that.
Thanks for that, gentlemen. I know it was a very early Sunday for you. Now, there were 8 games on the go in Italy on Sunday as the champions, and they've lost twice already this season, yeah, but they've barely shown any signs, really, of having lost their mojo. With manager
So in spite of 185 tantrums, 378 pre-dawn starts, and a lot of birthdays, Caroline still looks
Nasal swelling. You're now cleared for breathing.
Advil cold and sinus. Take action.
oh, sleeping in. There's nothing here.
Yeah, or this literally, because you can see
Shopping
the
channel.
That's
That's useless here.
old plastic
So not a big
container.
Rogersville, New Brunswick is Jonathan Russell, also atop his springboard. You can see his lines here. Actually, that's his front side of his block. He's got his block set a little bit backwards here. Not sure what went wrong there. He's going to chop without looking at lines here, so he's just going to try to get...
I think this is French CBC, known as SRC. We'll know as soon as I start speaking.
Dans un petit village de l'Inde,
Yep, welcome to New Brunswick.
et 4 jambes. Immédiatement, elle est vénérée telle une déesse par les villageois.
Oh no! That's MPBN from Calais, Maine. PBS affiliate.
Oh, what am I gonna do now? At next weekend's battle.
CTV2, formerly known as A Channel Atlantic, formerly known as ASN.
Good. As you were.
Crowd goes wild.
Ron, Kobe.
And right on the very end of the VHF band, I can't tune any farther, is TV Tropolis, which, from what I remember, has some pretty good shows. Well, let's go all the way back and switch to UHF. There's only one UHF channel. and it comes in the best of any channel I can get. It's the something to do with the Canadian legislation. I think it's a local channel from right here in Fredericton. And apparently they're not going to talk. Well, this is useless.
It's just been based on what you received last year and a plus or minus percentage. So basically there's presently no current formula for the rural communities, and it has been based on proportional amounts from...
Well, I would say that's probably it. So what I'll do now is we will demonstrate the radio. Now hopefully, actually not hopefully, I know it's probably true, the digital interference here is quite awful, and AM reception's probably going to be crap, especially because it's not at night. But this is literally, in terms of reception, because I was using this back when analog TV was still in service, this is the best analog television for reception that I've ever used. And I have like a 40-year-old Sony Trinitron that I've compared this to, and this thing beats that in terms of reception. I mean, this thing was built to receive, and the radio is no different. So right now, go on the AM radio, turn my desk lamp off here so there's not as much interference, unplug my laptop, and we'll see what we can get here in the daytime. I don't even know what AM stations are around here, but we're already on radio, yep. So let's go to the bottom of the band, and let's see what we can get. How about that? Gosh, that's almost as good as FM. Well, that's it for the AM band, and I can probably get quite a few stations more at night, but now let's go to the FM band, and it'll be FMDX, and see how many stations we can get. And of course for FM here, we can pull out the antenna, because this is also an FM antenna, and try not to break it while we're at it. There, we'll put it straight up in the air and see what we get. Alright, we'll tune to the bottom of the band here. You can see the FM stereo light flickering as I go through the band. That's a good sign. Turn the volume up.
Dans cette chanson-là, qui parle aussi du peuple africain, le peuple déraciné, et la charge émotive.
Growing is just having the natural resource. That's the first point, right?
Well, a third of the...
And if so, how? What do you do about it? What are some of the habits?
There must be two stations coming in at once.
With thinking that
I set it to local and see if that's true.
bringing with them?
Well, if it is two stations, they're too far away for local.
However, we all do.
Ah, yeah. There's just one of them.
Certainly shutting down.
And there's the other.
Another, being dismissive,
So it's just some sort of interference making those two stations come in on a separate frequency.
So they misinterpret and respond.
At 11 a.m. Monday, December 17th. Fredericton and Southern...
That's Weather Radio Canada. I can pick that up on the scanner.
This afternoon. High -2. For tonight, periods of snow. Snowfall amounts 2 centimeters. Temperatures rising to 0 this evening, then steady. For Tuesday, cloudy with 60% chance of flurries. Winds east 20 kilometers per hour, becoming northeast 20 early in the afternoon.
And even though the speaker is mono, if you plug in, if you plug something in the earphone jack, it is stereo. I think this is the campus radio station here. CHSR on 97.9, I think it is.
At your Ford store.
At imperialtheater.nv.ca or evenco.ca. Quick!
What is the goal to which people should be working for?
Beau livre de l'année avec les choix d'Émilie Dubreuil et de Jean-Philippe Cipriani.
High-speed internet and other state-of-the-art technological services offers their valued customers and friends that
That's it. A plethora of FM stations right from the bottom to the top of the band. This is literally not only the best receiving analog TV I've ever seen, but also the best receiving radio. And it takes some darn good electrical design and engineering in order to make a device that's both a TV and a radio and make it an excellent performer in both departments. So, well done, Sony. Well done, Sony, indeed. Now I can't get my vinyl case on. There we go. So, that's about all there is to show of the Sony Watchman FD-30 handheld TV and AM/FM stereo radio. I really love these handheld TVs. When I was a kid, I used to see them in cartoons on TV, and I didn't know they existed in real life. And if I had known that, I would have wanted one of these so bad as a kid. It was back in like 2008 or 2009 that I discovered that these actually existed, and I wanted one so bad. And it wasn't very long before I had one, and one that I really love and that's in really great shape. So I really love this thing, and I'm glad I have it. This is not the only handheld TV I have. I have a second one that I haven't shown on video yet because unfortunately it's in a state of disrepair. It wasn't when I got it, but it is now. It has deteriorated. It has two problems, one of which I know I'll be able to fix. As for the other one, it's possibly an electronic problem that I will not be able to fix. But at any rate, I will be making a video of that unit. So there you go on that. So yeah, if you ever want one of these, they are so plentiful on eBay. Back when I bought this thing, they were not common on eBay at all. But now that analog TV has essentially died, these are so common on eBay. They are so cheap. Just, you can get whatever you want. You can probably get it. Be it one of these older black and white Sony Watchmans, a newer color Sony Watchman, a Casio TV, anything. And like I said, both Sony and Casio made so many different models of handheld TVs with different features. You can get one with just the features that you want, and you'll probably be able to find it on eBay. There are a couple of different models of these, like the original Sony Watchman FD-210, that do fetch a lot of money, but otherwise these things go for extremely cheap, and they're usually in really good shape because people bought them back in the day for like $200 or whatever they cost, and then they realized that they weren't really that useful and they never really used them. I want to get another handheld TV. I want to get one with a TFT color LCD display that has both an external antenna input and an AV composite input, because neither this or my other TV have an AV input. So I want something with an AV input, and I would like something with a TFT active matrix color LCD display. Yeah, I'd like to get another one of these, and thankfully they're extremely cheap now, so hopefully someday within the near future I'll be able to acquire one, and that'll be cool. Another handheld TV that I'd like to get someday is a Panasonic, what is it called? A Panasonic CT101. It's a TV about the size of this, but it has a color CRT display. And it's like the size of a postage stamp. It's like a 1.5 inch display. In comparison, this thing is a 2-inch display, so you can get an idea of how small the Panasonic is. But yeah, they're very rare. Usually on eBay they go for hundreds of dollars, so I doubt I'll get one anytime soon unless I get really lucky and come across one for a lot less than that. But yeah, I'd really love one of those, because it's the only pocket-size color CRT television ever made. So there is another look, almost 3 years later, another look and demo of the Sony Watchman FD-30. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.